It is the 1st of June, and I'm sure, like me, you are thinking, wow, life has changed faster than what I was ready or prepared for, even if you had the best summer plans. I have one daughter heading to college, one daughter entering high school, end of year celebrations, family visiting, summer planning, school transitions for my daughters and myself as a microschool owner, emotional highs and lows, and a calendar that honestly looks completely different. It's not just that we ended a busy month. We are now in a season of transition. And many teachers, parents, microschool leaders, and entrepreneurs are experiencing the exact same thing, all of us together. So as May was a whirlwind, today we're going to talk about how to navigate a season of transition without losing yourself, even when it just feels like such a weird time. Welcome to the Redream Education Podcast. I'm Mackenzie Oliver, microschool founder, educator, coach, and believer in the power of starting small, dreaming boldly, and rebuilding the future of education one courageous step at a time. If you're here, it's because something in your life, your classroom, your family, your child, your community, or your calling is asking for a new dream, a wiser dream, a redream. This podcast is where we challenge the old models, rethink what learning can be, and build innovative pathways for children, families, and communities. Each week, you'll gain the systems, strategies, stories, and soul work you need to design personalized learning, understand how education is changing for the better, start or scale a microschool, lead with confidence, make a change for your family, and create an education model that actually works for today's world. Because you aren't just dreaming of something different, you are building it. This is a space where we re-envision what school can be, reimagine how children learn, and rebuild the systems that were never designed to meet the needs of our future and current generation. This is a podcast to redream education as we share insights, strategies, stories, and tools to teach our children better, transform learning at home, support innovative education models, and invest financially or personally in the future of students everywhere. Because you aren't just dreaming about a better education, you're part of the movement to create it. Welcome to the Redream Education Podcast. This is where the future begins. It's official. We have ended our 6th year at Lighthouse Learning Microschool. For the first time ever, I have a college student, a high school graduate, and for the first time, only one student left to graduate, and she's moving into high school. Boy, have I learned a lot from having a high school student that's now graduated. I look at my youngest daughter, Jolie, and I think, wow, I am so much more prepared to parent you through these years than what I was when we had our oldest daughter, Jalen. And by all means, that does not mean that I'm going to do it perfectly, and that does not mean that there's not going to be a mountain to climb. And you may wonder, how am I feeling now that I have a college student? I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling so hopeful for her future. I feel as if once our students enter into this world, our children, there's so much possibility, so much opportunity, and they're not bound by restrictions anymore. And while that is invigorating and exhilarating and inspirational, it's also hard. Yes, we've had tears over here of feeling like we have jumped out of an airplane. Where's the parachute? When do I pull it? Where's the safety net here? And I feel as if that's how it translates to summer. We're all excited. So many opportunities, so much possibility, a break, freedom, sunshine. But where are the boundaries? Where are the constraints? Where are the routines? Oh my goodness, I feel this so much for my daughter. I really do empathize with her because while, yes, I've graduated high school and college and done a lot of jumping out of the airplane in my own personal and professional life. When we enter into summer as a teacher and as a parent, the world just feels weird because we are so conditioned by our school system. Our routines, the traffic, the time we start, the time we stop, the afternoon routines, the evening routines, the morning routines, they are all impacted by a school schedule. And I'm okay with it. How are we going to change it? We're not. One thing that I wish I would have had for my daughter in place while she's in high school is more opportunities to explore careers outside of the high school hours. And that's why I'm really passionate about being able to build a school where we have the permission to give opportunities to students that look different than traditional school settings. And it was very helpful. My oldest daughter, she had the past 2 years a modified schedule so she could go to school less time and come home and do online classes. And that worked so well for her. And she really thrived being able to do this. And so it is definitely something that we are looking forward to for our youngest daughter, Juliana, who, by the way, I've said it before, she prefers roller skates over reading. She is all about summertime, and school. No way. She does not like school, which is all the reason why we started Lighthouse Learning. But now that she's back in public school, when I picked her up yesterday for our last day of middle school, all of her friends were crying and she had the biggest smile on her face. Like, woo! Hallelujah. She said, Mom, I didn't even say goodbye to anybody, and everybody was crying, and I was just celebrating. Now, May was a whirlwind. In our house, we had graduation preparation, and there are so many things that go with that. Do you have your tickets? Do you have all of your credits? Have you paid all your debts? Have you turned in all of your items to the school? Do you have your cap? Do you have your gown? Do you have your tassel? Do you have all of the information about driving 45 minutes to the University of Central Florida, which holds thousands of people for a graduation? Where do we park? What time are we supposed to be there? Coordinating all of that with our family coming into town, staying with us for multiple days, having our first big party at our house for my daughter's graduation party. That felt a little overwhelming for her as well because she was, just wondering, is anybody going to show up? Who's supposed to be showing up? And I'm old-fashioned here. I sent out paper invitations rather than the 21st century style of sending out graduation announcements and invitations by text message or signups. So we had no idea of who all was coming. Whew. Lesson learned. I'll still send out the paper version, by the way, because I just love paper. But I would also send it out electronically to people and have people RSVP and tell them a paper announcement's coming to you as well. I mean, why not just hit people with both? Because electronic version, come on. In one hand, out the other. Sometimes don't even get on your calendar. Sometimes don't even see it in your email. Gets buried in text messages. That's why the paper version needs to go alongside it. That's just a helpful little tip for any of you listening. Then we also had my daughter's 14th birthday, which it was her golden birthday. May 14th, she turned 14. I know. I felt as if it was really overly looked. Yeah, I admit it. And she felt it too, because she had soccer. She was preparing for a big tournament. It was the day before our family came in, 2 days before the big graduation ceremony, and there was just so much preparation. We still did go to Olive Garden and celebrate the night before. She was supposed to go to soccer practice that evening. My husband said she didn't have to go because it was her birthday, and I said, that's fine, but I don't have any plans for her birthday because I thought we celebrated it the night before. And now it's the day of her birthday, and I have a ton of household items I have to do to prepare for this graduation. It was a whirlwind. We also took a trip to Bradenton, Florida for a few days for my daughter's soccer tournament. We had dentist appointments that were unplanned. We had some big doctor's appointments that we had been waiting for a really long time. It was just all smashed in to 2 weeks. Then, of course, we had our end of the year banquet for our school. Teacher Appreciation Week. We had field trips, showcases, concerts. I was just kind of reflecting this with my sister. She said, I'm exhausted. I have whiplash. No, we can't talk about this anymore. This is too much. But now we're heading into summer. And as much as I've tried to plan and prepare, I'm like, whoa, I feel like I just got hit by a dump truck. And now we're trying to transition into this free time. And I'm even having a hard time with it. I still have to work. My youngest daughter is like toes in the sand. Can you drop me off at the beach? I said, no, Jolie, I'm not driving you 45 minutes. Dropping you off at the beach and driving. No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. This is day one of summer. And we've already went back and forth with a truckload of her friends, paddle boards, lost her eyelash curler, needs to get her toes painted, feeding all the kids Chipotle. Come on. You're with me, right? We're day one. We are day one. Then I got my college girl trying to get her library card because she's super studious. She wants to get everything squared away so she can take summer college classes and head to the library. Also feeling like, should I have moved away? I'm feeling like I made a mistake. Oh, it's so much. There's just strange emotions of being excited and sad simultaneously. This summer already has created a loss of routine. We start to feel uncertainty when things show up right before we start growing. So it's really important that we give ourselves permission to not have all of the answers. I want to teach you something today that can just be a simple framework. For the past 3 days, our school let out last week, but right after the last day of school, I headed to Bradenton for my daughter's soccer tournament, came back home, had the awesome opportunity to submit the YAS Prize grant, spent almost 9 hours on Zoom meetings with my team to finalize everything, plus the months of preparation to prepare for the YAS Prize. Then Wednesday, so that was on Tuesday, Wednesday, I went into school to help prepare for summer camp, pick up my daughter for her last day of school, which, by the way, I feel like it's illegal to have school after Memorial Day. I'm from the Midwest. We end the second week of May. It's already hard to end the third week of May in Florida, but to also do it after Memorial Day, some people go to June. I mean, I'm just thinking we should sign a petition for this. Oh, goodness. So Wednesday, I had finished submitting the YAS Prize, picked up my youngest daughter for her last day of school, dropped her off at the mall, picked up my other daughter, who was going through some transitional feelings herself. I just decided to go to Panera. I said, it's 4:30. My husband's working late tonight. I've got one living her best life, one just trying to figure out what she's going to do with her life, and I'm over here trying to figure out what to do with everybody's life, including my own and our dogs. If you are a teacher, a homeschooling parent, or a brand new microschool founder who is trying to figure out what comes next, you need to hear this. Microschool Masterminds is the community and coaching program I wish I had when I first stepped out of the classroom and built our microschool. Yes, straight from the living room to now nearly over 100 students thriving in year 6. This is where teachers and founders finally get the roadmap, the support, and the systems to create a thriving microschool without burning out. Inside Microschool Masterminds, you will receive weekly live coaching with me and other powerful professionals who discuss strategy, solutions, and provide personal support. You also receive step-by-step modules to build your school legally, financially, and operationally. Marketing enrollment done for you with training that works even if you've never advertised before, and you can learn this on your own time through our Microschool Masterminds classroom modules. Worried about multi-age classrooms or curriculum? We've got you covered with our curriculum planning resources. You receive templates, checklists, scripts, and systems for marketing, financial systems, operations, community building, and growth. Everything is ready for you to plug in and go. Most importantly, you have access to a powerful community of other founders who understand your dreams and your fears. Whether you're starting really slow, or you're still teaching the classroom and you're dreaming of breaking free, or you're already running your microschool but feeling overwhelmed, trying to figure out also how to build a hybrid program. This is a place where you gain clarity, confidence, and of course, a plan. Because you don't have to do this alone. You deserve guidance, you deserve support, and your microschool deserves to grow with ease, not chaos. If you're ready to redream education and take the next step, join us inside Microschool Masterminds, where together we are building this education system better. Head over to redreameducation.com/masterminds to learn more. Again, that's redreameducation.com/masterminds. So, I just decided to go to Panera, and I was going to pause. I took out my Sunday basket. I've talked about this before. I've had Lisa Woodruff on the podcast. And it's a basket where I just basically put all of the incoming information that comes to me. I put it in a box and I process it one day a week, typically on Fridays. Well, you better believe in the month of May, I didn't process anything. I even spent the past weekend before I went to Bradenton sorting through my finance box. I have one like a planning box and I have a finance box. And I was just going through receipts and bills and invoices and statements. And I really couldn't even execute on anything because I was just trying to ground myself on the whirlwind of the month and what has come my way and what I need to prepare and plan for, even though I felt like I had planned pretty well. Even within the past day, I was supposed to go to Iowa to watch my nephews play soccer, and I decided we just are not going to be able to make this work. Then we totally changed the month that we were going to go visit our family. Just decided, let's just keep June open. So pausing before you plan. The 4 things I think really do help during transition is pausing, because all of us try to rush into summer, even if we have a plan or don't have a plan. It's really important to reflect, ask what has worked in the past, what has not worked in the past, and what really does need to change. My husband and I, after this podcast episode, I'm going to be heading out this weekend to the Dave Matthews concert. I'm so excited. My husband and I are going to have a getaway, and we are going to have 2 days. It's 2 nights of the Dave Matthews concert. So we're going to West Palm Beach, and our daughters are going to be living their best lives. We're going to be determining all of our summer plans, hopefully, within the next week. There's, of course, doctor's appointments. We signed our daughter up for camp next week. My husband said, I'm signing her up for 4 weeks of soccer camp. I said, honey, let's just go week by week. Because he's like, well, we get a discount if we sign up for multiple weeks. I said, we do, but we also have a teenager. And, they fly by the seat of their pants. Can we just take this 1 week at a time? Because who knows if she's even going to like this camp. So I digress. That I have spoken before about having the planned summer, and then sometimes we just get a little itchy and a little nervous that if we plan out this summer, what if they don't like it and we've already financially committed ourselves? Especially if it's a camp that your children have never gone to before. So we met in the middle and he signed her up for 2 weeks. And then he said, I'm going to get her in a track program. And I'm trying to remind him that she also has intense training for nationals because we're headed to Washington for her national soccer tournament. I really, really need him to pause along with me because we are a team and we have to do reflecting together. So pausing is very important. And I really do feel as if we get so hung up on doing and producing and getting everything squared away. It took me a week. So our school let out 1 week ago. It took me a week, even though I knew the projects that I needed to work on this summer with our school. It took me this long to kind of just wrap my head around the projects that we have, who needs to be involved with it, and what would the deadlines be. So this was just a bird's eye view. I had to pause before I could really plan things out. Number 2, in transitions. This is a hard one. This is a hard one. Honor what is ending. I told my sister, I said, I'm afraid of you guys leaving after Jalen's graduation because I'm afraid I'm going to be sad. And I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be sad that you guys are gone. And we've had this big, exhilarating celebration and such a wonderful time together as a family. And you guys are going to leave. And I'm going to feel like I jumped out of the airplane without a parachute. I feel alone at times and I feel afraid. And it's hard to run a school and run a family and run your own hopes and dreams and goals. And instead of just rushing into summer, I just decided I'm going to honor what has ended. I'm going to honor the time that we had together as a family and my daughter graduating and this big, lofty month that we had, and really just acknowledge that one of my daughters will never be in high school again. And I made mistakes. I dropped the ball on a lot of things while she was in high school. And my daughter is going into high school, and I just take a deep breath knowing there's so much to consider and to stay on top of. And my daughter, my oldest daughter, she was very self-sufficient and independent, and we still struggled through a lot. Teachers are leaving classrooms. As a microschool leader, you're closing one chapter and opening another. Students are leaving your schools. You're leaving students. We often skip gratitude because we're so accustomed to race toward the next thing. And I have a hard time with this. I'm not really one who celebrates a lot. And I made the word this year, celebrate. That was my intention for 2026, is to celebrate, and not just all of the celebrations that come in physical form, like the graduation and the birthdays and ending the school year and the banquets, but celebrating internally in our hearts what all we have accomplished. I have this calendar in my office at home, and it's beautiful. It's very simple, and it has just nice colors on it for each month of the year. And when I look over to the calendar and I see this year at a glance, I really enjoy seeing, okay, how many months have gone by? How many months do we have? And I feel like it's easier on my eyes to cut the months out when they're over. And then I looked at this big wall calendar. So I had cut out January, February, and March. I'm like, all right, quarter one gone. Cut, snip, throw it away. I don't need to look at it anymore. And then today I was looking at April, May, and June. And I was like, I really don't need to look at April and May anymore because though they're just overwhelming months. And they were really, really great, but they were very jam-packed. So I cut them out. And on my wall right now, we just see June, and then we see the last 6 months of the year. And it feels good to look over and to see what all we have left. But I'm also thinking, oh my gosh, did I not stop and reflect after each month and look at how much we accomplished? The only month that really didn't have anything on the schedule, on the calendar, was January. Oh, it was so blissful. And then once February came and it was my daughter's 18th birthday, we had a big celebration for that. When I say big, I mean like it was her first birthday celebration that we had had. And it was a surprise. She told me she wanted to have a surprise birthday party once in her life. So we made it happen. But it was also college tours and determining which college she was going to go to. It was a lot of decision making. I think that's what I'm boiling this all down to, is there was so much decision making these first 5 months of the year that I'm not really honoring and embracing all of those decisions and all of the ideas and forward momentum that we have from those months that felt heavy. So as I head into this weekend, one thing I'm going to do as we celebrate, because my friend is going with us and she knows that we were submitting for the YAS prize, she said, hey, this is going to be perfect. We're going to submit the grant early so that we can go to the Dave Matthews concert and celebrate. And I'm like, yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to celebrate. And I just really have a hard time with that for whatever reason. So I'm going to be more intentional and just honor what has ended and to really look at this past few months as gratitude for how far we've come and not race toward the next thing. Because that has definitely been something that my husband and I have been doing for the past several years. As our school has grown, we moved houses, he left his job. It's been a lot of transition and a lot of intense moments of deciding and changing and refining and redefining what our life is going to look like. Even the years and years and years that I spent praying, asking God to bless us with a house. And He has. And I really do try as much as possible to thank Him for where we are right now, because the years leading up to this were really hard. And I felt like there was a lot of unanswered prayers and a lot of just waiting. And so when we got our new house, we also had to move our school, and we couldn't even really enjoy our home because we were so anxious about where our school was going to be next. And then once we found the place for the school, we had to move so quickly. And this year has really been a rebuilding year for our microschool. And I'm so grateful to have very specific people in my life that are always reminding us, look how far we've come. We had this beautiful end of the year slideshow. It was 15 minutes to beautiful music of all the pictures from the year. And a couple of our staff members were tears rolling down their face. And one of them turned to me and said, look how far we've come. Last year, we didn't even know we were going to make it. It's so cool. Honor what has ended with gratitude and reflection. So number 1 was to pause before you plan. Number 2, honor what has ended. Number 3, expect some emotional whiplash. Yep, expect it. You can be grateful. You can be excited. You can be nervous. You can be overwhelmed. You can be hopeful. You can be scared, all in one day. You can have all of those feelings. You can feel it tomorrow. You can feel all the positive feelings tomorrow. And you can feel all the negative feelings yesterday. You're going to have some emotional whiplash as you go through transitions. They can happen all at the same time. And it doesn't mean that something is wrong. It means that you are human. And we actually discussed this today in our microschool masterminds session. One of the teachers said, we ended our year and I'm trying to relax and enjoy it, but I just feel like I've got to keep going. And we just talked about all the weird feelings that presents. And I was sharing my vulnerable moments as well. And she said, thank you so much for sharing that. It's helpful to know that I'm not alone. And number 4, build the next season slowly. You don't need every answer in June. You don't need the entire school year figured out. You don't need the perfect business plan. You don't need to know exactly what's going to happen in August with your students. We have to condition ourselves to focus on the right next step. Yes, we need to keep the vision in plain sight, but this is not a sprint. It truly is a marathon. So I'm going to ask you a few questions before we end today. What is ending in this season? What is beginning? Honor what has ended and take time to do that. Journal, reflect, pray. What is beginning? What are you preparing for? The third question I want to ask you is, what are you carrying into summer that you really do need to let go of? One just top mind is that my daughter had all of her friends over here today, and I was trying to do a lot of deep work, and I could hear them running and laughing, and my husband had already dropped them off at Wakaiba River, and he came back to get the paddle boards, and by the time he got all the way back to give them the paddle boards, they decided they didn't want to be there anymore. And then he came all the way back, and then they decided they were hungry, and I didn't have time to cook, so he took them to Chipotle. Then they came back, and they're running, and they left food out, and they've just been making a mess. And sometimes that really trips me up. Not going to lie. I like order. God is a God of order. And I'm like, you know what? I would much rather this be the day than her sitting in her room, scrolling on her phone, feeling like she doesn't have friends and doesn't have anything to do. We need to let go of perfection. We need to let go of the idea that we're going to have a perfectly neat house. We're going to have to let go of the ideas that everything is going to be perfect and buttoned up and in a nice, beautiful bow come August, because it's just not going to happen. I know we want it to, but we have to be very real that we cannot create perfect microschools. We are going to do our best to make progress and to be as phenomenal as possible, but it's not going to be perfect because we are not in heaven. But we can create heaven on earth, that's for sure. I want to end with this question. What are you hoping to create by August? In your own life, in your children's life, in your relationships, in your marriage, in your school? Over the next 2 months, like if you could just say, man, it'd feel really good if I had this done by August. And just stick with that. I know many of you, if you're a founder, you're planning enrollment, you're hiring staff, you're changing locations, you're revising curriculum, you're creating schedules. You're trying to build next year while you're still either grieving or celebrating this year. And that's hard work. And I want to encourage you to create space for both of them. Thank you for tuning in today. It's been a couple of weeks since I've recorded a podcast. I've never missed 2 podcasts in a row. And that's something that I had to also let go of coming into summer, is that it's okay if I don't have everything perfect. I will get back on track, and so will you. It is time to redream education and to actually take that next step. Join us in Microschool Masterminds every single week for live group coaching, self-paced modules, and of course, a powerful community. Head on over to redreameducation.com/masterminds and join us in our free Facebook group at Redream Education Microschool Community. To learn more, that's redreameducation.com/masterminds.